You said it's no longer legal to take human remains in your carry-on baggage out of India, and that is because of me.
Yeah.
Explain that quote.
Yeah, so this is true. Yeah, one of my first big investigations when I was starting my career as an investigative journalist was I was a foreign correspondent in India, and I uncovered a giant trade in human remains, particularly medical skeletons going to doctors' offices all over the world, and the trade had sort of flourished until about 1980, where Calcutta was sending out 60,000 skeletons every year from Calcutta, which is basically everyone who died, sending those out of the country to be like, show up in, your doctor's office and that sort of thing. And that trade was made illegal in 1980 because a lot of people ended up being killed for their skeletons. And in 2007, we thought the trade had sort of died. I went to Calcutta and I found lots of human skeletons leaving America, leaving India, going to America, going to other places around the world. And because of me, sure, at least shortly after my article came out, okay? I don't know
Hmm.
for sure it was because of me, but shortly after my article came out, all of the airports in India, started showing a sign saying you can not have human remains in your carry-on baggage. So, big win for Scott on that one.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say, if you run a big story and it's about, organ trafficking and skeleton trafficking in India, and then a sign appears sometime soon after, it's not out of the question to say there may be some connection between
I
the
lost
2.
I can't hear you anymore.
Can you hear me?
Oh, you're back,
Can you
you're back.
I'm back. Yeah, I was just saying if you see a sign that appears about carrying human remains out of India soon
Mhm.
after a big story drops on organ trafficking and skeleton trafficking, it's not out of the question to think that the 2 may be related.
Yeah. Yeah, totally, totally. I
Yeah.
mean, how many people were writing about human remain trafficking out of India? It had to be me. And it's interesting, the reason why I find that story fascinating is that as an investigative journalist, I'm going into really hard places over and over again, whether I'm interviewing, mafia bosses or looking at, survivors of a war-torn area. And I got into journalism because I wanted to hold truth to power and I wanted to make changes in the system. And I had this idea in my head that once you expose the criminals, once you expose the bad people, authorities come in and like, there's a response and the world changes. The reality is that that never happens. That almost never happens. So you got to take your wins where you can find them.
So if that almost never happens, what drives you to continue to do what you do? Because that does seem like a more nihilistic outlook. What would you say motivates you to keep uncovering stories like this?